This tutorial is for 4th grade Module 6, Lesson 15. In this lesson, we will compare money to decimals and fractions. In this first section, this picture shows us that $1 is equal to 100 pennies, or 100 cents. So in the first problem, it says 100 pennies equals, and we're to give the dollar amount in decimal form, and then 100 cents equals the dollar amount in fraction form. I'm going to start with the fraction. Since it takes 100 pennies to equal a dollar and we have 100 cents, the fraction would be 100 100ths. In decimal form, I would put a 1 in front of the decimal point because I have one whole dollar when I have 100 pennies. And then I'd follow that with 2 zeros. So $1 is the same thing as 100 100ths of a dollar. Looking at the next question, it asks for 1 penny. Well, 1 penny would be 1/100th of a dollar, since it takes 100 to make a dollar. To write that as a decimal, I would put a 1 in the second spot after the decimal because that's the 100th place when we're talking about decimals. So 1 penny is written 0.01. That means 6 pennies would be written as 0.06. 6 pennies is the same thing as 6/100ths of a dollar. And again, the 6 is in the hundredths spot in our decimal. 10 pennies is the same as 10/100ths of a dollar. To write it as a decimal, the 1 would go in the tenths place and a 0 in the hundredths place. I still read this as 10/100ths. So a dime is 10/100ths of a dollar. And then 26 pennies is written as 0.26. 26 cents is the same as 26/100ths of a dollar, and that's the same thing as a decimal, 26/100ths of a dollar in decimal form. In the next section, you can see that 10 dimes is equal to $1. So for 10 dimes, we would say we would have 10 out of the 10 needed to make the dollar, 10 tenths. If I have 10 dimes, then I would still write it as $1 or 1 whole. And since 100 cents is the same as 10 dimes, 100 cents is the same thing as 10 tenths of a dollar. For question 7, I have 1 dime, so I would write that as 0.10. So I have 1/10 of a dollar. Since it takes 10 dimes to make a dollar and I have 1 dime, I have 1/10 of a dollar. And 1/10 of a dollar is the same thing as 10 cents. If I have 3 dimes, then I have 30 cents or 3/10 of a dollar. 30 cents is 3/10 of a dollar in fraction form. 3 out of the 10 dimes needed to make $1. 5 dimes would be 50 cents, and 50 cents is 5/10 of a dollar. 50 cents is the same as 5 dimes. I have 5 dimes out of the 10 needed to make a dollar. And 6 dimes would be 60 cents, or 6/10 of a dollar. 60 cents is the same as 6 dimes. 6 dimes out of the 10 that make a dollar. In the next section, we're going to show how money is written using quarters. The first problem shows us 4 quarters. Well, it takes 4 quarters to make $1. So $1 written as a decimal is the same thing as 100 cents or 100/100ths of a dollar. So it's 1 full dollar. 1 quarter is 25 cents. So I'll write that as a decimal. 1 quarter is the same thing as 25/100ths of a dollar, since it's 25 cents out of the 100 cents that makes a dollar. 2 quarters is 50 cents. and that would be written as 50 hundredths, since it's 50 cents out of the 100 that make a dollar. And 3/4 is 75 cents, and that would be written 75 hundredths, since it's 75 cents out of the 100 that make a dollar. In the next section, we're given some money in word form, and we're to show that same amount in fraction and decimal form. So in the first question, we have 3 dimes and 8 pennies. Well, 3 dimes would be the same as 30 cents out of the 100 cents that makes a dollar. And then I'm going to add to it 8 pennies. 8 pennies is 8 cents out of the 100 cents that make a dollar. Combine those, and we get 38 hundredths. So 3 dimes and 8 pennies is the same as 38 hundredths of a dollar. In decimal form, I would write that as a $, 0 in my units place because I don't have a whole dollar yet, but I do have 38 hundredths. So the 38 lands in the hundredths place. In the next question, I have 8 dimes and 23 pennies. 8 dimes is the same as 80 cents, which is out of the 100 cents that makes a dollar. Now for 23 pennies, I'm going to split this up just to make it a little easier to add. 23 pennies is the same as 20 pennies out of 100 and 3 pennies out of 100. This will make it a little easier to add going across. 80 hundredths plus 20 hundredths is 100 hundredths, plus another 3 would equal 103 hundredths. Now I can leave it that way, or I could also show that 103 hundredths is the same as 1 whole, because I have 100, and 3 hundredths left over. So 8 dimes and 23 pennies is the same as 103 hundredths of a dollar, or 1 300ths of a dollar. In decimal form, I'm going to start by showing I have 1 whole dollar, so that'll go before the decimal point, and then I have 3 hundredths of a dollar. So I put a 0 in my tenths place and a 3 in my hundredths place. So 103 hundredths is the same as $1.03. The next question, I have 3/4, 3 dimes, and 5 pennies. So 3/4 is 75 cents, or 75 100ths. 3 dimes is 30 cents, so that's 30 100ths. And 5 pennies is 5 cents, or 5 100ths. Now when we add these, let's see, 75 and 5, that would be 80 100ths, plus 30 would be 110 100ths. 110 100ths is also 1 whole dollar and 10 100ths of a dollar. Since I have 110, I can break that into 100 hundredths and 10 hundredths. Now in decimal form, I would put a $, and again I have 1 whole dollar, so we'll show that before the decimal point, and then 10 more cents. So $1.10. The final question says 236 cents is what fraction of a dollar? Well, I start by writing 236 100ths, because again, the denominator always tells us what it takes to make a whole. It takes 100 cents to make a whole dollar. So 236 hundredths of a dollar is the same as 236 cents. Now I could leave it like this, or I could break this into a mixed numeral. Since I have over 200 cents, that means I have $2 and then 36 hundredths of a dollar. And I can also write that as a decimal. I have 2 whole dollars and 36 cents. So $2.36 is the same thing as 236 cents.